The Orlando Magic-Boston Celtics game scheduled to be played tomorrow at 7:30 at TD Garden has been postponed due to accordance with the league's health and safety protocols. There has been a lot of testing and tracing within the Celtics, which caused them to not have the league required 8 players to proceed with tomorrow's game. And this was confirmed by the Boston Celtics themselves and the NBA too. I'll start with you, Mario. This is pretty surprising because this is the third game in a row where the Boston Celtics had to cancel a game. This is the fifth one already canceled by the NBA so far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of I want to say backup and backup and kind of, I want to say it's going to really cluster the Celtics season of what's left. That's the best word I can think of right now. It's really going to cluster the season that they have left towards the end, because I mean, look, the Celtics were just dealt a wrong hand, a bad hand. Obviously Jason Tatum testing positive with other players. They just been dealt a bad hand. Right now they don't have the players that they need to win games, right? And because of that, they're really suffering through it. So obviously, between the accordance with the league's health and safety protocols and tracing within the Celtics, causing them not to have the league required 8 players, this is a problem for the past 2 or 3 games, not having the right amount of players to play the game. First it was the Heat, then the Bulls, then it was the Magic. I mean, this is tough for the Boston Celtics right now. This is definitely ruining their season. And I'm gonna be honest, Nate. I'm gonna go off of a huge prediction. Okay, 2 things are really gonna happen. All their game, they're gonna have to play game after game after game, which is gonna be very draining on that team. And I don't think that's a really good idea for that team, because God forbid that even increases their risk of getting hurt. It increases the COVID testing. That's either gonna happen, or let me tell you this: if this continues with the Boston Celtics for these 2 weeks, and they somehow cannot reschedule these games, Celtics might have to forfeit the season.
And I'm a Boston Celtics fan. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I'm as a Boston Celtics fan, I'm worried as hell right now. I really am, because not only is this the third game canceled in a row by the Celtics, but when you don't got to cancel it because of the health and safety protocols, you barely got any players to even play these games, and I'm concerned right now. I'm concerned. I still got hope for my team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lose hope immediately, but it's worrisome. It really is.
Now, I mean, the difference between NBA and other sports is NBA, it's really tough to kind of fill voids. Because the NFL has a practice squad, so if some guy gets COVID, you upgrade that due to the main roster, and some other guy goes back to the practice squad and they switch it off.
But MLB and NHL have minor leagues.
Right. This is what's really tough. See, I believe that there should be I believe they need to kind of. I know they modified it today, which we'll talk about later on, but I believe they also need to modify it just a little bit more, because here's what I believe. I believe that you cannot keep the roster regulated players per team. You can't keep that. I don't think this year. You really can't. I think you need to extend it to how many players are allowed. I think what should really happen is, I believe that if a player does not have the required 8 players to play the game, I believe that you should add maybe additional 3 spots or 4 spots to that team and sign some guys so that they are able to play the game. Because this rescheduling is going to hurt the NBA in the long run. It's just gonna hurt them even more. Right now it's the Celtics, but what team in the future of this season, what team might experience the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Are you willing to test this with another team and go through all this again? Because I wouldn't want to do that if I'm Adam Silver. If I'm Adam Silver, I'm talking with the NFLPA and talking about extending the roster of each team, because I believe that's what should be done.
I absolutely agree.
If this certain situation happens, I believe each team should have probably 3 players to fill in the players that can't play. That's what I believe should happen. I think an extra 3 players should be enough to start to play an actual full game. You know what I'm saying? Less postponements, less rescheduling games, and then you get to play the games even more because you have those extra 3 guys to come in and play. That's what I think that the NBA should do. This, I believe, is really going to back them up. I believe it's really going to clutter the whole season because, again, they're already cluttered enough. They got to make sure they get everything done before the Summer Olympics. If not, let me tell you, if not, here's another prediction, okay? The NBA can't finish by the Olympics. They might not, the U.S. Olympic team might not be able to even go to the Olympics. So with that being, or the professionals at least won't be allowed to go to the Olympics. So with that being said, I really do think that they need to modify this just a little bit opposed to how many players can be on the team. I believe there should be like an extra 3 spots on this team, on each team, just in case somebody does end up getting COVID. You don't have to require 8 players.
I absolutely agree. I really think that's something they should look into. Well, with that said, good luck to the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic, and just we'll see how this goes from here.